Ooh, hello, my lovers. I'm MJ. I'm the founder of Ulta Love. Check out the merch. It's the Vibratores of the Most High. I run this channel. I'm an online yoga teacher, meditation teacher, and I offer these tarot readings. I'm a total astro nerd. I'm not officially doing readings, but I've started to weave my intuitive awareness of natal charts into tarot readings. And because it's pretty much the only kind of content and information I'm ingesting these days, I actually got prompted or felt like offering you a collective reading around the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is meant to be happening, I would say, because these are far-reaching planets. We're feeling the energy. So we're going to be feeling the kind of uh, sense of I'm hearing like electricity, that kind of heightened, maybe sleep disruption, um, just a charge, almost like static in the air, like a charge in the air, and that's going to build up until April 20th. Happy Earth Day. I think, is it April 20th or April 30th? Earth Day, and April 20th is also like 420. Anyway, so that's Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and I felt guided to do a collective reading. So just to see what are the collective energies, and perhaps the guidance for this sort of energetic stamp, as it were, like what's going to serve us best, and maybe just a little bit of insight of like what we can expect um, in our general lives, in our personal lives, and then of course in the collective, how that's all going to interweave together. Ooh, interesting. This Emperor reverse right away gave me a feeling of like a solar figure falling. So one of these presidents, world leaders, this sort of thing. So this could be an emperor falling. I'm actually hearing falling from grace. The King of Swords. So it's almost like somebody's calling somebody out, or I'm actually hearing like it could be an end of something. King of Swords cuts out or speaks the word that shines the light on the distortion of this emperor energy. This would be somebody limiting movement, somebody who limits other people's access, right? Who's the king of the castle, but the kingdom is limited, and they're not, or choosing not to do anything about it. The sun is shining on the dethroning or the death of this emperor. The sun card is here. This is a renewal. This is a positive new beginning. Interesting. So the emperor does have a female around them as well. Queen of Wands in the reverse, fire sign. What are the collective energies and also the kind of direction? Yeah. So this is more about a direction for us as far as letting things go. I know it's so annoying. Speak for myself. This whole thing of like, let go, let God, surrender. I don't know about you guys, but after a while, you're like, really? I have to keep letting go of this? I have to let go of this? I have to, after a point, you're like, please, God, just let me stay put. So the temperance is like refining your emotional energy. Some of you guys are going to be walking away from a situation that's, I'm just hearing, no good. Like having a boss who's oppressive, or again, on a global level, we could see the fall. I'm hearing emperor would be the leader of an empire, right? So on a global level, this could be the beginning of the end of a collapse of an empire. I'm hearing something about currency, as in currency exchange, and obviously finances. So no doubt there could be something that's triggered. I'm thinking it's in Taurus, right? So this is a sign about food, resources, money, economy, right? Our physical world. Um, so those of you, and this can resonate with all, but like those of you who resonate with like, yeah, I'm having to walk away from a shitty situation, or I'm having to walk away from Maybe some of you are walking away from love right now. Yeah, I mean, regardless of being in a relationship or not, you just might be walking away from focusing on your partner, or focusing on the relationship, or focusing on the love in the relationship. For now, like say you have walked away from a job, or you've walked away from something that was exhausting or tiring or limiting. You're walking away and you're just wanting to heal. Temperance, you're wanting to refine, you're wanting to kind of hone your energy, kind of get clear, get grounded, all that kind of stuff, right? That's been a recurring message as well, I think, throughout yeah, probably the last few weeks. I would say this sort of staying grounded, looking after ourselves. I know it's not glamorous, is it? It's not like a let's go. I don't know. But I see I've never really fully been into that world anyway. Um and if anything, it's like now navigating grounding into the world. It's kind of a funny one, but emotionally just walking away. Emotionally, maybe not putting so much attention, or obviously emotionally, if you're walking away from a job that you're wanting to walk away from, but it can still be a bit like, what? Hence temperance, grounded, know your worth, know your emotions, know your connection to the divine. That actually came through a client session yesterday around like, I'm just feeling like disconnected. I normally so feeling, as in she's like, I normally feel so connected to God. Like I've always been so connected. And these last few weeks, I've just felt like, where is that? Where is that like deep? And then, I think it was probably being tested, right? It's like this. Also, and I think I mentioned this in a recent share, but Neptune coming up to the final degrees of Pisces is also to me part of these sort of collective existential crises. Because Neptune is all about our like dreamy expansion, but it's also to do with our delusional aspects, which to me is also about the kind of takedown of Hollywood corruption, or the corruption in the entertainment industry, the corruption in the political arena, the corruption, right? It's all being shone out. Because Neptune and Pluto, Pluto's destroyed a lot of the obvious structures that are shit, and now Pluto's coming in to like psychologically restructure us all. As in all this awakening stuff, it's a polarity, as far as I don't know if polarity is the right word, but the awakening of our consciousness is also what's shining light to what's leaving our human consciousness, right? It's always there. The Akathic, this is the idea too of the Akashic records. It's just the totality of all that is, a God source. And so the more we align with that expansion, the more we can attune to it and still access, we can still access all the corruption and pain and wars, and we can still witness them, right? But it's also the heart, or the for a lot of people here now, there's an intent to create more joy. There's an intent to create more well-being. There's an intent to create more values around sharing resources. There's an intent to shine the light so that the instability via corruption, lies, what have you, can be seen for what they are and taken down. And of course, the macro, micro, inner, outer, sort of that kind of vibratory. Was I going to say that? Well, that's what it's making me think of. Like, we're still going to be purging and clearing and healing, and encouraging one another to step more into our joy, have the courage to take the risk. That's a big message as well for the Uranus Jupiter conjunction. Have the courage to take the risk, like, and I can feel that reverb in my own in my own beingness too. Like, it's not always obvious or easy, but what is this life? And that's, yes, a huge part of this awakening is we can all do better. We can all grow. We can all expand. We can all live lighter. We can share more, right? We can congregate. What's this King of Swords saying for this reading? What's this King of Swords saying? That Five of Cups wants to come through. There's someone going on where there's some, I could say grief, but then actually what I'm hearing is overcoming this grief. maybe there's something like, again, macro, micro, like there's certain structures or empires that are falling down, and there will be, I'm actually hearing a message about there will be the chosen ones. I'm also aware, and it feels maybe important to address, is that so being mindful, especially in the larger media arena, of a savior, just pointing it out. As far as I'm hearing, keep your head down, keep grounded, focus on your local community, focus on, yeah, your sunshine, your world. I'm just aware of being really aware of like a kind of savior complex, dangling a carrot of like, come this way, humans, I'll save you, everything's gonna be okay. And that's not it's not the light of truth. It's a kind of um mirage, a temptation, a kind of like, come this way, as in that to me is a big breaking of the cycle. The breaking of the cycle is the innocent human consciousness projecting their power outside of self versus the integration. We are our own saviors. We have always been our own saviors, and we always will be. We're all one in this great, vast, contrasting experience of life on Earth. It is an exquisite experience to behold, due to its depth of challenge, due to the depth of darkness that we can witness here and experience and heal and clear in the vessel of our own light, which is our own spark of divinity, which we all have access to, right? So there's a freedom in us accessing the truth and knowing that certainly nobody that shows up on our television screens is going, oh no, like it's just not. I'm like, nobody. People, we help each other out. We're not here to save one another. And even in that context, doctors and healers, they support the healing process, but it's the physical body of the person being healed that is healing itself, right? So it's bridging us into higher realms, you could say, of technological wisdom. But of course, part of the shift for us as a species is for us to be integrated. It's a toughie. And thank God for this ability to share. And thank God, I think, for all of us that are lucky enough to have communities, and if even a small handful of people around us that care, genuinely care about who we are, genuinely want to support, etc. Like, just having that in integral, reflective, grounding, I guess, like a constellation of energy, is part of this new reality. Communities that share with one another, to communities that have each other's back. And this is part of healing ancestral trauma, right? Or generational trauma. It's that there's reasons why there's evolution, there's reasons that we're coming from a place of greater darkness and pain and corruption into greater light. I keep hearing something about we are the chosen ones, as in the light bearers. And I don't particularly like to use that language. I countering isms that compartmentalize us or separate us. I do find the idea of like the chosen people or something to be kind of divisive. Or just, there's always a bit of danger. It can be a bit dangerous, right? If in group think. I mean, in fairness, gosh, that's so much at the heart of so many of our great global wars and political global conflict, is just one group thinking, no, I'm right, you're wrong, or we have it the right way. This God is more, or we are the chosen ones and you're not. And that's the heart. That's where the heart comes in, as far as that's what empathy is. Empathy is feeling and or having the ability to put ourselves in other people's shoes, to walk in their shoes, to feel their pain, right? So the heart's a big part of it. And embracing the wholeness, embracing the challenge, embracing our triggers. Because this is, again, a big part of the healing process that I think eludes people, is that a trigger is a gateway. If we sit with our trigger, I talk about this process in my book. A trigger, if we sit with it, is usually going to stir up a wave form. And then that could be tears. That could be like, oh God, anxiety, or something's coming through. The anger is showing you something, either a wound or a breach, or a breach of your boundary, right? Like, all of our emotions are communicating to us. It's just that, again, as a species, we have been taught to deny the emotion. So it can take a while to reorient ourselves to the emotional body. And it's much more quantum. And that's where the more, it's like fourth density, right? The more in your heart and in your sensitivity and your emotional bodies you are, the more sensitive you are, the more you pick up, hence protection practices, hence being really aware of, like, how do certain people, places, and things and environments make you feel? How do you feel after? I'm having this reverb of, like, yeah, a situation where I just always feel like extra, almost like I've been partying, even though I haven't, but like kind of crispy, like, just, yeah. And you never know exactly why, but I'm really kind of stepping up further of, like, your beingness is showing us stuff. Usually if we're going round and round and round and round in a pattern, it's because we're denying something. And I can straight up testify to that. I'm like, recently witnessing something in my own reality where I'm like, oh my God, I think I've just been. And then, but that's the glory and the trust of the universe, knowing that, you get the lessons, or you see the teaching, or you see the thing as and when you have the capacity to deal with that thing or process that thing. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, if you've ever had like awakenings, but around your own delusions. That's been like another weird phase of my healing recently, where it wasn't this grandiose sort of inspirational spark where I'm heeding a call and being creative and all this kind of stuff. It was like seeing something that was probably right in front of my face the whole time. And I can see why, but it's like how we can create these maybe falsities to protect ourselves, because that's what we would like, rather than what is going on, what is the actual energetic exchange. And then once we're really, really fucking honest with ourselves, then we let it go. This is reversed, by the way. So this is, you've overcome something, or you're overcoming grief as well, because the sword, this King of Sword here is overcoming. They're in the upright. The Five of Swords is downturn. I think some of you too could have lost a group of friends, or there's a shift in a connection to a group of friends. And for some of you, it's probably like a group. So it's not even just like one, there's like a group of people who, for whatever reason, are exiting your life. I wouldn't worry too much, because these are all reversals. I would dare say these people that are not probably in too much alignment for your future anyway. They're not going in the direction you're going in, so they're not meant to stick around. Maybe that's part of what you're walking away from as well. There's a lot of shining light on distortion, a lot of shining light on people in our environments, certainly people of power. But again, on the collective mundane level, I would say that this is about a solar figure. This is about a powerful solar figure, a leader in our world stage, right? Who I'm hearing just falling from grace, and or because I'm seeing it next to that sword, like, what's the word, as in all that people paying people to to take people out and all of that craziness. But the Queen of Wands here, let's get a card pull on her as well. I kind of get a feels that this could be the counterpart to this solar figure. She's in the reverse as well. The sun's upright. So in this card reading, the taking down of this emperor is bringing, here comes the sun, do 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 do. It's a positive thing. At the same time, give ourselves time. Remember that little message of beware of saviors. Beware of anything being propagated of like this, because, and also be aware that this person will look, it will be like a maybe just somebody who's like charming and eloquent and like, oh my God, yeah, this person's great. This is it. This is the person that's going to save us. Because my concern is that this incredibly charismatic person saying all the right things and looking all the right ways, what they're going to be tempting or what they're going to be pulling people into is an aspect of a control system that we don't in our hearts want. But it would be like a kind of World War II situation of somebody coming along and being like, I've got all the answers for you. Just sell your souls. You know, just get the chip or I don't know, right? Any kind of one world order kind of power grab system of control. Yeah, but maybe none of this my mind really does go into all these different spaces where it's like maybe that's an aspect of our reality. Maybe it's not. Maybe more and more we're just gonna have to blend, make sure we're looking after ourselves, become as well as we can, hang out in nature, and use our technology for responsible means of communication. That's because to me, that's what this all is we're just sharing more information. The more information we're sharing, the more we're expanding our consciousness, and then we're sharing, and then we're expanding, and to ground that into the earth, right? To put our energy into the earth, into biofeedback with earth energy, so that we're all grounding in, basically, because that's part of also this idea of consciousness, awakening, paradigm shift. People talk about the light workers or whatever. It genuinely is like an essence of bringing more light onto the planet. But of course, there's no grandiosity. It's sort of like um, an earnest desire, right? Um, Yes, let's get a few more cards. So again, divine guidance, love and clarity for the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening in about what, 8 days, a week or so, end of a cycle here. Let's get some more cards. Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, divine guidance and loving clarity. There's 2 10s that have just popped out. So you're closing out a chapter, right? We're closing out, and this can be a way of relating. This can be a way of being. This can be a way of making money. This can be a way of showing up in relationship. There's just with the 5 of Cups reversed, like we're coming out of a grief phase. We're coming out of like rah, rah, rage, being more clear mentally, probably, and or again, witnessing the fall of some empire or emperor in the global stage. That's the end of a grander cycle, a grander collective karmic cycle of limitation, of lack, of feeling restriction, feeling restricted. There's a flip to that as well. Being aware that this can also potentially trigger the apparition of a need for greater restriction, the apparition of a need, which means it's not real, for greater restriction. There's where that potential, be mindful of things going down that could stir up panic, and then finding, look, we have the answer, some messiah, some great person, and then that person is leading. Is it a thing of like devil in sheep's clothing, or the wolf in sheep's clothing, or something like that? You guys, some of you are fighting at home. Okay, additional messages, divine guidance. Some of you you're fighting about something at home, or you're fighting, like, basically home life is not going great. There's some fighting, or maybe you're fighting about something. Some of you might be walking away because that 10 of Cups was in the reverse. Some of you were just exhausted by it. Some of you want a new beginning. You could be writing a book. Some of you, or a book of poetry for some of you. Some of you are really wanting to create something, grow something. It feels promising to me. Yeah, open to life. See with these closures, right? The letting go, the walking away, getting grounded, coming back to self, not focusing on this, seeing great falls or emperors colliding. I don't know. Seeing certain emperors fall, seeing whatever is shifting your reality as well. And it could be that there's certain straight up, like it could be okay, say there is fighting in the home, the guidance is not necessarily like break up and dissolve the family structure. If that's the case, this is more about you getting grounded, getting well, and um harnessing or channeling your creative energy, so that you have that creative flow, or you have that feeling of wanting to put back into the family, right? I think sometimes it's just a expansion contraction, rather than if we think we have to be in the contraction all the time, we're going to implode, or we're going to kind of break apart. When we allow that ebb and flow within our relationship, within our work, it's like in the work I do, like at retreats and stuff, I often say to people, take rest if you need to, go have a good cry in your bedroom if you need, or wherever if you need to, right? As in, the program is busy, but for some, but well-being is not about being productive all the time. That would be imbalanced, right? Well-being is about balance, and well-being is about having the tools to bring us back to balance when we fall off of our balanced state, and or orienting ourselves more toward what feels like a balanced state. So yeah, it's not about being perfect all the time. It's about knowing where our center is, and being able to like pay attention enough to kind of keep us in that center. The more we meditate, the more self-aware we become. And that's part of the duplicitousness of becoming self-aware. We become sensitive. People talk about that with me, like, oh my God, I was feeling really, really high and and then I just came, it's like, well, yeah, because we're more sensitive. We're not so blocked off. We're not in the dark. Being awakened means like feeling what's going on around us. And it's a fair bit to unpack. I sometimes have moments when I'm in a process, as in an painful emotional process, and I'll think to myself, like, I ain't talking about this. Nobody's going to want to heal. Nobody's going to want to go. And yet that's so not true, because more and more and more people are opting for this healing. More and more people are addressing and acknowledging generational trauma, which it would appear this generation, I guess Generation X and the millennials, we're like, it's almost like from our point of view, we can't move forward without healing this stuff. We can't be the essence of who we're here to be. We can't live the life we want to live. We have the relationship, the family we want to have. We can't, unless this shit gets healed. Because the trauma is breeding patterns that are toxic and or abusive and or painful, perpetuating pain, right? What's trauma? Pain. But it's a painful moment that imprints itself on the cells of our beingness, on the kind of psyche of our beingness. So collectively working through trauma as we evolve individually, as we share that process with one another, is to me a big part of this unfolding, and being open to life and being open to channeling some of your creative flow. I'm now gonna get one card. There is a quite powerful feminine energy coming through here. So regardless of the gender, I think that's saying about holding your own, and there's something about letting yourself be full. Yeah, like really feeling good, really feeling full, really feeling like you've got all the energy, the power, the wherewithal, the emotion, the love, the life force, and that there's something about like you could walk all night if you wanted to. You could this is what I mean about the feminine. There's something dark and but I'm getting a kind of juiciness out of it. A kind of like a creative, Hence, make yourself full, ground yourself, come back to yourself to channel that energy and create and give back and share what's coming through rather than focusing on where there's conflict. As in, if there's conflict at home, you don't need to fight with that. Direct your energy elsewhere. That will likely sort itself out. I would say, yeah, I think some of you are having to shift gears financially. And that's why some of this is stuff you're walking away from this. I'm not doing it like this. I want to be open to life. I want more creative flow. I want to be able to express myself more, whatever it might be, right? This is like a shift in perception. Just be patient with yourself. The Ten of Swords, I'm like, there is huge change, right? Rebirth, both collectively, individually, likely. This is very much sort of mid-process as well. It's like laying down the will to fight for some of us within the home or within that center. Letting it's almost like just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Because the unexpected is just par for the course, and being open to it is part of what's going to help us to move through. Being open to it. So it basically, it's like, don't resist the change, my lovers. Don't resist the new beginnings. Don't resist the impulses to make creative stuff happen. Don't resist the impulse to be by yourself. Don't resist the impulse to drink more water. Don't resist, like there's the sun is shining. The sun is shining on all of us to move forward in greater joy and wisdom and integrity and truth. King of Swords, Queen of Swords, I often get that, like the sword of truth. The intuitive sword has spoken, right? Oh, man, this is really deep stuff. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Shift in perception, really focusing on our groundedness, healing the heart, letting the benevolent universal forces work through our lives rather than having to chase it, go, or grasp for it. We don't need to fight for this stuff anymore. We need to probably drop in deeper to a state of rest, to allow that natural creative solution and the natural creative energy to move through us, right? All right, my loves, thank you so much for joining. I will be starting the monthly readings. Who's going to be first this time? Is it Aries? No, it's going to be Taurus. So Taurus, we're going to go live for your reading. I'll try to give you guys a premiere link so that we can all go live together. And otherwise, thank you for being part of this amazing community. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoy this sort of theme, because I could do more readings on certain celestial events, just because that's what I'm really, really into as far as tracking the astrology. So for example, I obviously there's going to be another lunation coming up. I think April 23rd, so we could do something on that. But yeah, these big transits are happening quite a bit. So if you want a private reading, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys real soon for the daily and the monthly reading.